This is my Prezi that I did for our research project. It's basically an insight into the poverty, crime, and punishment of Victorian England and how all those factors combine to create so many social problems in Victorian England. Let me get it to work. Alright, so my research proposal basically just revolved around me trying to basically find a connection between how the Industrial Revolution increased poverty and how that led to increased crime rates, and how the English government tried to fight this escalating trend. First of all, I go into the reasons for criminality, and majority of them is just basically poverty. A lot of young people, old people, and especially women were disenfranchised as the Industrial Revolution took over because jobs traditionally held by them were given to other people or were removed entirely because you didn't need them anymore with industrialization taking over. So basically, a lot of young children, because they had nowhere else to turn to because their mothers were poor and their fathers were out of jobs, they turned to crime, and they were punished harshly by the government. And however, over time, people did start to view them as products of the environment. But however, initially, they looked at them as basically innately almost evil and decided that without harsh punishment, there could be no change. The types of criminals, well, there were a lot of them. They're mostly swindlers, pickpocketers, people who ran different types of schemes, prostitutes, scuttling gangs, which would just violently rob people and try to take over neighborhoods, much like gangs do today. And these are oftentimes profiles that the English government and the crime task force would use to see if they could find common characteristics between criminals, because they believed strongly in theory of eugenics and that there were certain traits, physical traits, that could lead people to commit crime. So, and also, in addition, another way the government tried to crack down on this is by incorporating workhouses. These are places that people who were incredibly poor were basically sent to, basically giant prisons, but instead of just being sitting around there, you would have to do basically mindless tasks the entire day. And this was and it was meant to be harsh so that people would try to go get a job once they get out. However, oftentimes people would rather just turn to crime rather than go here because they rather make a buck by stealing from somebody rather than basically live in a workhouse which was poor. And many children were also sent here along with old people and women, so these were really harsh conditions. In addition, punishment was oftentimes incredibly harsh. Young children were whipped severely for small crimes like stealing birds or bread. And because they were so harsh, people got a disillusion with the government because they're like, well, we're screwed no matter what. And oftentimes capital punishment was very common. Even things like robbery, even small robberies were punished with this, and even then it was done intermittently, so not everybody who committed the crime would actually get punished, but only a select few in order to make an example. This further increased disillusionment and was very bad, and eventually lost its deterrent effect, so the government started to crack down a little bit better, reform the system so it would be a lot more equal, and then eventually death penalty was only given to those who actually committed murder and and other terrible acts of violence. So basically that's my presentation. Hope you enjoyed it.